Alright, let's see how the microphone is going. I look to be talking very low. Why? Alright, I've got the microphone in front of my face, but it's still quite low. Now, hello. You hear me fine? Alright. My mic arm says my volume is like -15, -10, which is lower than what I want. So I'm gonna turn it up a little bit. Okay, let's see if this changed anything at all. So if I just turn the knob up, is it actually getting louder? Yeah, it is. That was too much. Just gonna see how this sounds to you guys. It might be an aggressive filter, honestly. So I've turned the knob up and down previously. You guys can tell me how it sounded. The music might be too loud, so I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Just to see how it goes. Alright. They can hear me. I need a 20-minute genre intro. Yeah, probably. Record so I can edit. Good call. Actually, that is a good point. I did almost forget. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not using transitions. Maybe that's why. Okay, let's see. I'm still setting up a little bit on the background here, so don't mind if you guys have to wait a little bit. But I feel a couple of different things. I'm trying to figure out how to set up the stream. But I wanted to come live, like, in case you guys wanted to chat. I'm here. Got a few different setups to showcase the stream, so I'm setting it up in a way where we can watch together. To the best of my ability. Yeah, actually, let's just try to go full screen on this one. Guess this must be a bit boring. Hold on. Technical stuff. Okay, if I go like this looks fine. Yeah, this looks fine. I definitely look like an intruder. Alright, nobody can see me. Let's change that. You guys have to report back to me if you can hear everything, see everything, if the technology is working. Meanwhile, I'm making sure I got the chat open. Got it popped out so I can see all of you. Alright, we got visual. We got visual, guys. The music is too loud. I think it is. Let's see. Alright, let's turning the music down a little bit more. Just a little bit. Okay, this should work. Hello. Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Thanks to your title, I'm thinking about cleansing light of Meridia. Oh my god. Yeah, that reference goes over my head. I don't know what it is, honestly. Let's see. Let's give it a Google. Wikipedia to Skyrim. Skyrim? What? Okay. Skyrim reference. Meridia's Beacon. Oh, okay. Oh, that's a thing. Cleanse the Temple of the Undead. Oh, that makes sense. Skyrim quest name. Yeah. Look, so I've played Skyrim, but I'm not a Skyrim player. If that makes sense. Some people love that game. Well, I play it sometimes, I guess. That's pretty much it. Another hand touches the beacon. Oh, that might be where Shauna got it from. That's how Shauna introduced me. When he saw me chatting in his YouTube comments about role-playing the hard way, and I commented that I'm getting the copy, I'm interested in learning, and we got into chatting, and he invited me onto the Discord. After I had to send him an email, and I guess the email step was just to make sure that people who care actually do that one extra step that everybody else slacks off with. So I sent him the email and I got the invitation pretty much immediately. And we got into chatting. He said, hey, wanna record a video? Talk about it? And I said, yes. Yes, I do. It was in the middle of the night for me. But I was very excited just to having a face-to-face with somebody that I thought had very thought-provoking opinions, who was not afraid to call a spade, so to say. You know, I did not agree with everything, but that's a cool part. We were still able to talk, and he was able to share a lot of ideas with me, and he would listen to what I'm doing. And that's the coolest part. So he called it like another hand touched the beacon. You know, one more guy interested in roleplay. Alright. So let's let's see what we're gonna do. You guys must be tired of my face. Okay, let's see. I think this works. Yeah. That's me. So, Captain Conway. Adam has a lot of questions about game mastering in 4D. I saw him asking Rick's video I participated on, but the stream ended before we got to it. He asked the RPG discussion chat too. Give him the scope. Well, yeah, we might get to that. Honestly, that's I was thinking about making a video, a couple different videos. I have one about MVR, minimum viable roleplay. I thought that might make a good video, but honestly, I'm lazy with scripts. So I was thinking of throwing up a live stream talking about it, but I wanted to gather a few more thoughts. Instead, I think I wanted to watch Adam roleplay over here. Oh wait, no, none of you can see me. There we go. I was thinking of watching Adam roleplay. See what he's about. So, let's see. We got Adam here on the left, I believe, and Elfhunter on the right. It's gonna be pretty awkward if I get this the wrong way around. Elfhunter is also pretty new, but he has been working on releasing videos. Let's check out his channel real quick. Let's click on videos. So yeah. He's been thinking about roleplay for a while, putting out some videos. Doing a video response, very cool. Should you leave your table? That's nice. And then we got him actually roleplaying 4D in Mithras. I did not watch those. I know some of you might have. I skipped those. I couldn't be asked. So for me, it's a double package. We get to review Elfhunter and we get to review Adam. So to do that, let's set the scene. Right. Now, how do I? Now, how do we do that? I think I have a rough idea. Hold on. Okay. So I'm making a thing in the background. If you guys how to so copying a file. And to copy the file, I'm trying to paste it, but it's not. Something about it isn't working. All right. Let's make it the simple way. I want to throw up a picture for you guys on stream. But lots of things are not working anymore, and I don't know why. So we got like I want to drag and drop an image into OBS, but it won't. It refuses to drag and drop. Right. So that's a problem. All right. Let's. Oh wow, yeah, if I jump over it, you guys will not hear the audio. So let's do this, the headphones. And let's do this. The mic arm. Alright, let's see if this works. Alright. I hope you guys can still hear this. Dave, dear GM, I watched most of it, but not all because of Red Stream. Ah, I see. Adam, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for watching and reviewing. Please be brutal. I'm glad to hear that. I will try to be, I try to be measured in my response, especially since our goal here is to help you how to role play the best as you can and understanding what it means to 4D roleplay. So at some point we were goofing around with AI art, so this is what we got, right? Join the cult of the role-playing elite. State where you are. What do you do? Speak in character. Do not ask the game master questions. Keep your turn concise. Vet your players. Co-create elements into the scene and read the rules. You know, that's how you become a necromancer. I mean, that's how you join the cult of role-playing elites. This is how you get in, boys. I actually have to chase some kids, but I'll try to hop on in a bit. Measure nothing, cut everything. Okay, yeah, sure. So, viewers, if you have any questions about the rules here, let me know. But it's pretty simple, right? And this is for new players, for new viewers. If it's the first time, if somebody clicks on the live stream, they want to figure out what's going on. I made up the short list just to, as a quick example. You state where you are. This is your anchoring move. This is you leaning against the bar table. This is you sitting on the stool. I'll try it with the earbuds. Gotcha. That stating where you are helps everybody imagine your location inside the scene. What you do, obviously, bringing in some dynamic of what you're doing. You're scratching your nose. You're like snuffling a cold back of the runny nose, something like that. It's you're crossing your arms. You speak in character. This is just simply role-playing acts. Speak like your character would speak. So, I would like to have a cup of beer. Okay, that sounded weird, but that's you just speaking in character. You don't need a voice. A voice is optional. A voice is performative, you know, but it's not role-playing. It's not needed. Do not ask the GM questions. This one is to keep the games quick and to keep people immersed in the scene. Whenever you ask a question, you dive out, you know, you catch some air, you disengage with the scene. You hash it out, and then you re-engage in the scene again, hopefully. But this is a point of friction that with 4D roleplay, with immersive roleplay, we want to remove. Keep your turns concise. It's another point of friction. Now this one is debatable. Some people do debate it, but we watch a lot of videos online where people take forever to take their turn. Most of the times it's because they ask the GM questions and they ignore the third rule too, like speaking in character. They speak out of character to players. So if they ignore those, keeping your turn concise is really hard. So keep your turn concise while you do all of the above. Vet your players. Now vetting your players is the important part, so that you guys are aligned in your goal what you want to achieve. Some people, like me, my goal is to roleplay. I want to create these cool scenes and play them out with people that are into that. Now, I'm also here to play the game, but playing the game has the goal of being able to roleplay inside it. Because, I mean, this is a role-playing game hobby. There's not many other places you can do that. So if you have players, his goal is to reach the end of the mission, or his goal is to kill the dragon. His goal is to reach level 3, level 5, level 10, level 20, then yeah. Then you're always fighting him for what you want to achieve. And you want to roleplay out dramatic moments between two characters. He's gonna be there tapping his foot. Be like, get on with it, guys. I don't have all day. I'd like to finish this quest at the end of the night. And you're gonna butt heads with each other. So yeah, you have to vet your players. Otherwise the alternative is you reach for middle ground and you don't really achieve 4D roleplay. Maybe you roleplay some and then a lot of the other rules get violated because they don't care about roleplay, they care about playing the game. They care about rolling the dice, they care about fighting the enemies, being superior, roles lawyers, they care about those things. Co-create elements into the scene is where you take the freedom to add detail, right? The Game Master creates a lot of the world and you want to have like an agreed understanding of the world, but you have the freedom to add elements yourself. Now this is at this point you're at the bar and you sit on the stool, you lean against the table, you've asked for a cup of beer. The barkeeper walks over and cleans the glass, sets it down, and fills you up, right? With a white cream bubbling up from the orange brew. And you roleplay out, yeah. You sit there and you see the change of the customer next to you leaving. With the barkeeper's back to you, you give a sly look to the side and gently stretch out your hand and collect the coins, stuff them in your pocket. Nonchalant. Trying not to be obvious. Sure, you've 4D'd some change. You 4D'd an element that wasn't there. You 4D'd some money that you're pocketing. I don't have a problem with that. Now there's a problem if you only 4D stuff to help you, like you're in a gunfight and I go to the toilet, you run, I don't know, to the next room and you see a bazooka lying around with a rocket next to it. And you pick up the bazooka and come back out and shoot it, you know, at the enemy. Great, congratulations, you 4D'd like a metagaming gremlin, but it's 4D. But we don't like to do that around these parts. Read the rules. Reading the rules, it's easy. Have an understanding of what you're playing. Alright? Simple enough? I think so. So, let's hop into the game itself. I'm gonna pause the music. There we go. And we can hop into the game. I might have to adjust the audio. It sounded very low on my end, but we will see how it goes and go from there.
Okay. We are live. We're doing a 4D training session with Adam today. Before we get started,
I mean, it sounds good, so I'm gonna turn the audio down a little bit. It's way better than what I expected. So yeah, we can continue. Just doing a bit of sound balancing. There we go.
can you just tell me what you know about 4D role playing?
I've just been watching all the videos for almost a year and a half now. I could try to define it, but I won't. But basically it's this sort of a style of uh, being in character the whole time. I guess you would say it's 3D, and then 4D is sort of taking exception to only playing your character and co-creating the world in certain situations that aren't in service to roleplay.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The short and sweet answers are the best.
Yeah.
I find with it,
Yeah.
when people like try to explain it and like give like a paragraph, I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think they're missing the point.
exactly.
But yeah,
1.5 speed minimum. We can speed it up a little bit until the points of the actual roleplay, which I'm interested in. I do wanna take my time, but let's speed it up a bit.
it seems. I think you already got it, so this will probably flow easy.
I hope so. Well, my goal is to just get 3D down, because then I think if you get 3D down, then if the moment comes or calls for sort of co-creation, then you sort of naturally flow into 4D.
Yeah.
That's how I sort of see it.
Yeah. So just staying in character, and then for 4D, it's different for every game. Sometimes you want to co-create a little bit or a lot. I've heard people co-create entire star systems.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, oh, I guess that's there in the game now.
yeah,
But you get a different feel for it for whichever for each game. Each session 0, you establish a different way to do it.
yeah. One-on-one is tough. I think it adds a little another element to it, to be honest with you.
I think it does. That's pretty much all my 4D experiences, one-on-one
really?
so far. Yeah, I've had like one game with 4 people, I think. But then, yeah, everything else just adapted myself. But anyway, what kind of genre would you like to do?
It doesn't matter. I kind of want to try rolling the dice and see what happens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that.
I don't have much to add, but I'm also trying to get through the video. It's an hour. We're gonna be here for a while. But yeah, I pretty much agree. I mean, it sounds about right, right? 4D element is stronger in 101 because you can just accept what the player creates. Like you don't need to check with the other players if it violates like any character background story or lore that has been set up. So like that there are less possible chances for conflict. And usually that's why you keep 40 on the lower end, because you don't want to break the shared imagining of the world, the verisimilitude of the world. If you invent a new element, it should fit inside what's been already established. So yeah, the less players you have, the easier this goes. Also, like, the better you guys understand each other and understand the genre, the easier it is to 4D co-create.
I think we have a no prep challenge. No prep categories.
I watched your No Preps with Adept, so I know you guys aren't a fan of rolling for tone.
Oh yeah, I don't know. We try it and then for genre, like I know you're not supposed to change what you roll, but we got horror like twice. We're like, we've done horror so many times. We got romance, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't know. But okay, let's see. I'm gonna do 20. How about Cyberpunk?
Sure.
All right. Do you want to?
All right, role playing in Cyberpunk. Okay, so it's a training session, and you're using the no prep challenge at the same time. Yeah, it's a good format to start off. These streams where you respond to those entering the hobby are actually awesome. It really helps. Thank you. Well, I hope it's gonna help. We will find out, right? I feel like a lot of people are better qualified than me, but then we also have a bunch of YouTubers that speak rhetorics. They repeat the same points until they become pointless. So reviewing something, giving a response. Just let's see if it's gonna be useful at the end of the stream.
Do tone?
Actually, I think I'm gonna put the music back on because I feel like it. Wait, hold on. If I put the music on, uh, the audio is gonna be mixed on both ends. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it off just so that we can. No, it will be fine.
Let's see what we get for that. Okay. Optimistic.
Optimistic cyberpunk.
I
I
know.
feel like cyberpunk already has a tone. I don't mean
That's why we end up skipping tone most of the time. We're like, huh.
yeah.
We could go with just cyberpunk if you like.
Also, you guys, I can let you vote. If you guys can tell me if you like the music in the background, or if this like actively distracts you guys and you want it gone, leave a comment. Feel free to leave a comment. You guys are watching. You can have some influence. This is just how I like to do things. If I was at home doing streaming by myself.
Yeah, I'm not like a expert at the cyberpunk jargon or anything, so we'll muddle our way through it if we have to. Sorry to all the
Me neither.
cyberpunk fans out there that are gonna hate this session.
It'll be fine. I've done one cyberpunk session. I knew nothing about the genre, next to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
GM knew next to nothing. We're fine.
Right.
We'll be all right. Let's start with your character and go from there. Who is your character going to be? What are they like? What do they want to do?
I don't know, just some punk looking for a fix on the streets, looking for his next fix, keeping his head low.
Okay, what kind of fix is he looking for? I guess it just means like whatever kind of
just
Elfhunter catching up. I see. Hello, Elfhunter. Yeah, I'm reviewing. I don't have much to say right now, so just gonna let you guys talk in the video. Oh yeah, it's a little distracting. Maybe turn it down until it's barely audible. I thought I turned it down already. Yeah, I can turn
like
it down.
any just a fix, you know, stimulants.
Okay.
Some stims. He wants to find some stims. He's got the itch.
It's okay.
Is that a thing in cyberpunk? I feel like that's a thing.
I don't know.
I lowered the music a bit more. If I lower it any more than that, it's gonna be inaudible. It's gonna mute itself.
I think so. I remember making up, or the DM made up like a.
It's like distracts a bit too much, too many sources of audio. Yeah, I can see that. Oh man, I love music. Yeah. Okay, let's do the work. I can have my music after the review.
Like electric cigarettes or something. I don't know what he said.
Okay.
Yeah, stims. There you go. Okay. What kind of?
Now, setting up with the character first. I guess it's fine. I like to think of a premise. What's a premise? And when we have a premise, I think of a character. But you can think of a character first, and when you have a character that you like, you come up with the premise as you go, right?
What kind of people does he know? Like, what kind of relationships?
Oh man, this is gonna get dark quick, isn't it? Just feels like cyberpunk is always dark. He just knows the people he brushes elbows with, the lowest of the society.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I can work with that. And like any kind of affiliations, organizations? Is he kind of like on his own?
Yeah, I think he's on his own. but
Okay.
he frequents a territory. I guess that's sort of. I mean, the whole city's ridden with gangs and territories, so he brushes up with those folks often.
Oh, okay. That works. And as far as like his goals, he's just kind of next fix, right? He's just one fix to the
Yeah,
next.
yeah. You got to do jobs. You got to do bad things to get money, basically. But the money
Oh,
goes quick.
gotcha.
You're either
Okay.
spending it on some vice pretty quickly. That's how I see
Yeah.
it. Hey, is this
Yeah.
shotgun gonna work? Is this gonna work? Do we need to re-roll? Do we both know nothing about Cyberpunk?
I think we both know nothing, but I think it's gonna work.
Uh,
Well, I'll tell you.
Interesting. Yeah, if you don't know a setting, you just go with the broad strokes of shared understanding. What video games you've played, what movies you watched, create a baseline, any books you've read, and if you like draw blank, that's fine. I mean, it's it's a training session, so the risks are low, so you can take some risks, like there's not much for you to lose. But yeah, establishing a shared understanding helps a lot. Like nowadays, I would say, have you played the video game Cyberpunk 2077? I like that one a lot. Just as a baseline to get into a dystopian city structure. It's a good one. Or if you watch the anime itself makes it like super evocative. If you played any of the Shadowrun games. But also I would lean into, if you don't know too much, you can lean into the Matrix, Matrix 1. How do you prepare for a mission? Uh, like massive trains of guns that you program in to ready yourself to fight somebody in the cyber world. Having combats, it can be literal combats, or it's all an allegory because you're fighting in the Matrix. So it's real, but it plays more like superpowers. You jump off a building and you bounce off the floor. It shocks you out of the system. Lots of cool elements. Oh, just trench coat and sunglasses. Or pink mohawks and loud explosions.
Tell you what was hard for a no prep challenge was underwater Atlantean adventure. That was hard.
yeah. You should have
But
posted that. I didn't see that on your channel.
that was an in-person one.
Okay.
I wish we did post something like that.
Okay.
But okay. Let's see here.
This is 4D training for you just as well as it is for me.
It is.
GM training.
It is. You're like I've seen your videos. It's training.
No. This is a starting point. Just if I post this and anybody watches it, this is my starting point. So be as cruel as you want in your critique, but just remember, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, what about any kind of like personal possessions, anything like that?
Yeah, I've got one expensive upgrade, like
Okay.
cyber upgrade. That's like that puts me in danger because when people see me, they want to off me to take it. So it's got to
Okay.
be
Yeah.
like something people can see.
Okay.
Like I don't know. This is where my lack of knowledge of
Hmm.
the genre is gonna start showing. But
Well, I'm trying not to throw ideas at you and make it multiple choice. I just want it to be your ideas. But um, like it could be like
I
visor
I
or
was gonna say
something,
eyeballs. Yeah. I like the eyeball idea. It's on your face.
like a bionic eye kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do with that?
Now, this is a good practice, and I like it a lot from Adam. He already thinks of items that he has being a way that drives the story. So he made the connection immediately. How do I have an item on me that's valuable? Like it sets him apart as a punk that just wants the next fix. But because it is valuable, that allows him to do something useful. So it helps a lot, like with the cyberpunk, the Shadowrun feeling of you have a specific tool that makes you useful for missions, for runs to use, but it also makes you a target at the same time. So Adam is bringing in the drama dynamic all by himself. The game master doesn't have to prompt for it. Now, if you played a lot of role-playing games, it can easily happen that you play at a table, people show up with characters, and there's nothing interesting about the character. Or the one interesting thing about the character is like on the other side of the continent. It doesn't affect the group, you know. Oh, he's an interesting guy in another kingdom, but over here he's just an adventurer. And that makes it like a bit flat, a bit cardboard cutout, two-dimensional. So this is good practice. Whether or not you 4D at your table, this is good practice. You can use this advice on any table to make your character feel more interesting and also give your game master more hooks to play with instead of having the game master provide all of the hooks. Yes, Adapt Austin, we are playing at 1.5.
To let you see like infrared or something. Or maybe you plug your eyeball into a computer and like, hack into things.
Yeah, I don't want it to be too cheesy though, you know? That feels, I don't know why, it feels like it's going down the wrong road. I want it to be less hacky and more seedy, I think.
More what?
Like seedy.
Okay.
Actually, and I'm trying, like, I do know there's like I read this famous actually cyberpunk book where the guy has like a gun in his eye, but I don't want to copy anybody else's idea either, so that's kind of what I'm running into.
Copy other people's idea. Do it. So as a role-playing game, right, your imagination is the limit. So a lot of our imaginations is limited to what we know, what we've read, what we've absorbed. Sometimes it's just like what we've absorbed simply by being there. We didn't think about it. But now you think about a cyberpunk character and it pops up again in your mind. See these nuts. Good one, Yuria. Good one. Yeah. So it's okay. But yeah, I'm if you want to have something more unique, that's totally fine. I would say for a training session, it's almost better that you take something simple and you just focus on role playing and 4D. That way you spend less time thinking about, oh, how am I interesting? How do I make a cool story? Like, how does this make your character is interesting because you're role playing? And you don't need the extra gadgets to make the character interesting. The roleplay and character dynamics do a lot of the lifting. The more special you are, the longer it's gonna take you to slip into the role. I think this one depends on player to player. But you know, it's their game. It's totally fine. You want to come up with something more unique. That's cool.
Nothing wrong with using that idea if you like it. I know for me, when I did a cyberpunk game, I didn't even have an upgrade. I just had like some gadgets. Do that too, or even like I think I had a motorcycle, or I borrowed a motorcycle or something. I knew a guy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with, let's change it up. The eye thing's not working for me. I'm gonna go with just like a bionic hand that's super strong and whatever.
Okay.
That's easier.
Okay, there you go. I can see some cool, cool stuff going on in an alley with a guy with a bionic hand.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Anything else you want to add? Or do you just want to start?
I mean, yeah, I think it's best if we just start. This is more for
All
just
right.
40 practice. We don't need to be creating any fiction that's too interesting here.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll just use it for 30 minutes or something.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go ahead and start us off then. It is nighttime, raining.
All right. Like 7 minutes setting up the character, setting up the premise. There's not even much of a premise. The premise is mostly he has something useful and other people want it and he wants to make quick cash. Now that's basic. This is what I call, well, do I call it? This is what I would call. My wife wants a cup of water. This is what I call, it's like this is your basic adventure, right? You have just enough in your character to go out there and get into fights to make money. It's and then all the interesting part has to come from the character personality and the roleplay. And for some players, the interesting part is, the class they pick that they play and the different mechanics that come into play of the role playing game. Now, I don't even know what dice they use. They didn't talk about that. Should have been discussed. I assume they watched each other's games, so they already agreed on rolling, I don't know, D20 or 2D6, who knows. Alright, Elfhunter for the cult of the role-playing elite. Yes. Good evil laughter at the end. Don't forget the M. Adapt Austin. I'm caught up now. Are those Audio Technica Bluetooth? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I bought them a long while ago. They're good. They're good Bluetooth headsets.
Thunder rumbles. The drops of water splashing against the cold.
Actually, I'm gonna slow down the video now that we are role playing.
Lonely city streets. The lamplights dim, just barely illuminating the street. On alleyways on each side of the road, there are some people. There's a guy on each side. They're probably some kind of junkie. They're just kind of huddled up.
One thing, and it's hard because you'll push yourself into the cold waters here. So this isn't 4D advice. This is narration advice, I guess, like storytelling advice. When you create a scene, you can cut out every time you want to say a filler word, um, like there is a street light and like there is a guy. You can cut those out, but this is if you're not doing it a lot. Now I've done it myself, right? If you don't do it a lot, it's a hard habit to break. But I would say allow for silence to reign in those moments. Accept it's okay not to say something if the word doesn't come to your mind immediately. So you can skip and like. Now it's a hard practice, but that is advice I would give that I try to do to the best of my ability, something to practice on. The other thing is, let's go back a little bit.
There are some people. There's a guy on each side.
There's people, there's a guy on each side. That's fine. You try to correct yourself to say the things you wanted to say. Happens a lot. This is totally normal, totally fine.
Probably some kind of junkie.
Now that's a part to keep track of. Probably some kind of junkie. Try to remove vague descriptions of your language. So I would remove just probably. Most of the time, you can just say the people on the streets, one on each side, probably some kind of junkie. Okay, wait, no, hold on. The streets here, people here on streets on each side, some kind of junkie. Now, I guess it's okay if you say probably here because that's a guesstimation, right? Now, what's the point I was thinking of is when you say there's probably a person here. Those are the things you want to remove completely because either a person is there or he's not there, right? Yeah, that was my point. Okay, so in your example, I think it's fine. You're doing a little bit of lifting of what the player character thinks of what it is, which this is fine. You're not violating anything with that, but it's something you can pay attention to. So instead of probably some kind of junkie, try to describe him, what makes him a junkie. There's a person here on the street, haggard, with now I am also missing words, with light, very light skin tone, malnourished, twitching slightly at your presence, like needle marks on his arm, or like mosquitoes stings on his arm. Now, what's the word for that? You guys know English. You know what I mean. What does it look like if you've been stung by a mosquito, or if you've had needle injections? The better you can just say those things. I mean, this is all like vocabulary stuff, so you have to build up your vocabulary treasure in your mind. For that, you have to practice, and practice you get by doing stuff more often. Welts, yeah, that might be it. Yeah, like red marks, needle marks. You could just say needle injection marks, but if you're a bit more vague, like mosquito marks on the inside of his arms, malnourished on the floor, leaning against the wall, tracking your movement with his eyes.
They're just kind of
Now let's let them talk, not me talk. We have 50 minutes.
huddled up.
Okay, we got Elfhunter here. He is the player to the right. Welcome, Elfhunter. It was a simple D100 system. Came up with just for the training session. 3 strikes for health, 6 stats, roll under. Difficulty grades, add or subtract 20. Okay, I don't know how the stats work, but as long as you know, that's fine. So you roll under, so if your stat is like an 80 in strength, it means you're super incredibly strong, so you succeed 4 out of 5 times. Gotcha. Dave, the GM, I always watch Let's Plays in real time. Sped up is too distracting. Though I definitely watch Let's Plays in real time too. Yeah, okay. Captain Conway, this is a good observation. Much like players can't say what the character is thinking and must show it through action, the GM can't tell the facts of his world and must instead pass it off. You only say clearly an addict if the character would already know such a thing. Yes. Sometimes if it's too hard to come up with the word to like describe him on the spot, which we keep coming up with scenes. So there's an infinite amounts of things you can imagine, which means you need to come up with the words for it. So we, instead of describing a haggard, malnourished man on the corner with welts on his arms, tracking your movement, instead you say a junkie lying down on the street corner, watching you. And people imagine what a junkie looks like. They have their preconceived notion and they fill in the gaps in their minds. It's a shorthand, but you decide like how much time you wanna spend on each description, right? So this is a balancing act. This is all part of practice. It's all part of like the skill expression of narrating scenes.
Shoulders up, I flip the collar of my duster up and slowly walk the sidewalk towards the action. I want to see what's going on with these junkies.
All right, we got a good baseline describing what he does. Shoulders up, the hoodie up, the pose changes, so using body language, great for roleplay, and describing his thought process. I like to use this most of the time as a shortcut to share intent with the game master. If you have other players at the game, it's much easier to talk to each other so that the game master picks up on what the players are trying to do. So this is totally fine with me.
A man, gray, scraggly beard, and very old, tattered clothes, looks up at you, his eyes kind of almost looking through you, and just looks down, kind of rocks back and forth.
Now that's a great description of a junkie to me. I immediately imagine, oh, this guy's down on his luck. He's looking for his next shot as well. It's pretty useless, but maybe he has seen something that's interesting. All right. I don't know what noise my wife just made, but it definitely picked up through the microphone. Okay, let's see. Captain Conway. I try to minimize it, just like I try to minimize filler words, ums and ums, as well as unclear terms such as kind of. Yeah. Precise language is good. So we don't have to have a back and forth like elaborating. What was that again? What his character does, anchoring, showing how his character personality changes the way he acts. Not overly long, perfect turn. Yes, agreed, Conway. Yeah, Adept Austin, I agree. Sharing your thought process makes a lot of sense in one-on-one. Unicorn sighing, yes. The unicorn is very upset at her computer.
Not what I'm looking for tonight. I'm looking for something to pick me up. So I continue walking.
Okay, the unicorn is distracting. Hold on, I need to go back and listen to this again. She's struggling, but I can only review so many things at once.
Not what I'm looking for tonight. I'm looking for something to pick me up. So I continue walking.
Police siren sounds in the distance.
I look back to see how close they are and sort of pick up my pace. Looking for an entrance to the underground. subway station.
Those junkies are minding their business long behind you by now. Subway station. It's just around the corner. Or an entrance to it. Moonlight halfway bathes the steps that go down into it.
All right, we know the time now, right? It's night. I wasn't sure. I wasn't too sure beforehand. I think it was dark, but every time you repeat a detail, it helps establishing it. It helps clearing up the picture because sometimes we can miss it the first time around. So yeah, sharing intent, role playing, getting into the character skin, the back and forth between both, walking, ignoring the junkies, looking for the underground, adding the detail, a subway station. Because if you just leave it, you're looking at the underground, it's a bit obscure, like, oh, okay. He's looking, for the shady stuff. The underground. But if it's a subway station, it's a bit different.
I walk towards the steps and do a look around, making sure that nobody sees me. I know this is sort of the territory I don't really belong in, but I shuffle my way down the steps into the lit subway station, keeping my head low.
Yeah, I'm pausing every turn. This is good. So I walk down towards the steps, staying present, and this is the thing you're doing now, right? Not I will walk, or I will attack, or I am going to walk. It's I walk. It's the thing you're doing now. Because that's what's happening. Time is linear. It moves in one direction, and we are present. And all the other elements, facial expressions, body language, all of that helps show to all of the players at your table what's going through your mind, and he's also saying what's going through his mind. These are all great elements of like describing the actions of the character, what he's thinking, and how he's doing it, what's on his mind. Things for the also in this situation to create tension to the scene, so it's not just a stroll to the subway station, but it's a stroll through enemy territory. And this is a problem because it's a cyberpunk game.
Roll dexterity. We'll say that's like stealth.
Success.
A policeman leaning against one of the columns in the subway corridor. A few people, an old lady sitting on the bench, and then a young man sitting on the bench next to her. Both seemingly waiting for the subway. Young man with his phone out.
I try to act natural as I walk by the cop, pat my jacket down, find some cigarettes, and I walk towards the gentleman with the phone as I pull a cigarette out and flick my lighter, trying to eye how much I can get for that phone while I look natural.
The young guy tapping away on his phone, unaware. The cop has a cigarette of his own, blows a puff. The sound of the subway train, the horn, sounds in the distance. There's just a speck of light at the end of the tunnel. The phone that you were looking at seems to be pretty standard, run of the mill.
Standard phone. It's enough for what I need tonight. And I ready myself for what I'm about to do. The timing's got to be just right.
The light from the front of the subway train gets a bit bigger. The horn sounds again. The underground lights flicker for a moment.
One of the cool things Adam did was anchoring his character inside the subway. We know exactly where he is positioned. Well, exactly, we know he's next to the young guy. He must be close enough to observe the phone. It's a public space, so there's probably like a bit of safety bubble. There's some distance. It's not too many people. We have three NPCs described: a young man, a lady, a police officer. We could add a bit more detail to the subway station, but I think that's not it's not really the focus. The focus is on stealing the phone, and that's been communicated pretty well, all in character, without the game master having to ask a clarifying question, or the player having to ask, "Can I steal? Can I steal something in the subway? Can I steal like some guy's phone?" We can all do that in character, and that is being achieved here. And I'm gonna try to keep track of 40 elements that happen from now on. You know, he summoned a pack of cigarettes. That's a super casual, easy 4D thing, because it's part of your character, part of what you have on your body. So you just describe you having a pack of cigarettes. We don't need to ask for game master permission. Can my character spawn with a pack of cigarettes? It's funny because one of the games I reviewed, the game master set up a gauntlet run. It's like a dungeon, but it's also kind of a challenge, like an official challenge. And you get ready to do it, and he had a whole spiel about going through the gauntlet and what it means and the dangers and the rewards the players can expect, the player character can expect. And the first thing the player character did was ask the game master if he has some form of illumination or torch on him, on his character, or in the steps, like into the dungeons. So you've already passed, like, you're already role playing better than 100,000 subscriber YouTube channel about D&D, about roleplay advice, about game master advice. There you go. That's the baseline. 100,000 YouTube channel. Good job. Elfhunter, 18 minutes behind. Yes, we discussed the system before recording. Good. I don't even remember the arms. Will practice mindfulness in speaking. Yes, it's a mindfulness practice. And it's also a habit. And habits, they're difficult to break if you just execute. That's why you have to be in the moment to focus on it.
Legs already shaking, nerves getting the best of me. I take one long drag of my cigarette, flick it away, and leap into action. I snatch his phone. And
The young man turns over his shoulder, just surprised, doesn't say anything yet, just looking at you. The subway train passes by. The sound is just filling up the whole tunnel. The lights are flickering the whole time that it's passing.
I book it. I find looking for the other exit, realizing I messed the timing up. This train's not stopping at this station. I'm gonna have to leg it. As I do, I do some fist pumps with my bionic arm, hoping that I can make some use out of it if I need to in a bind. Damn thing.
The man gets out of his, the young guy gets out of the bench, looks around, sees you. Hey, give me that back! And he jumps over the bench and starts to give chase. The cop throws down his cigarette. What now?
A thing that I like here is a player character takes action, snatches the phone, and that's basically his turn. So the turns, they're short, and the game master, now at this point the subway is filling. It's all of the audio in the subway station, the subway rushing past, and the guy just like looks up at him confused, but not speaking yet. And that is a great turn, like allow surprise to happen, keep the turns short so that the player can describe what he does and you can describe what you do. Now at a problem at a bigger table might be I try to sneak up, I steal the phone, then I jump past the subway train before it rushes past to exit the station on the other end. That is like daisy chaining turns after each other. You don't know if you're gonna change your mind as if something happens like you fail the jump, the train arrives before you get to leap, now you have to change direction of where you want to go, you know? So keeping the turns short, and in return, the Dungeon Master also keeps the punishment like his push short. Of first, like he's surprised, then he tries to call out, but it's loud and nobody hears him. But maybe the police officer sees him. It could be a role at this point. You can also just be like, oh, it's the action. It's reasonable that a police officer sees him. So at the second turn, the police officer sees something. At the third turn, the police officer is trying to chase after him. And every time the player can do something. And if you're at the table with 4 people, it's important that everybody gets a turn, right? But it's as much as important that everybody takes their turn and does something.
Looking over my shoulder.
So if they don't do something on their turn, I would say you can skip them, and I mean you give them a moment to react, of course, but I would be totally fine to skip them if you have to. Like if they don't come up with something spontaneously to do, so that you can keep the action rolling as much as possible.
I'm shouldering also through the folks, grabbing a an older man by the jacket trying to create some chaos in the chase as I go for the opposite exit that I came down, hoping that this crowd can distract.
The stairway out of the subway opens up into open air again. The sound of that siren from before is closer now. The sound of the man behind you, he's still yelling, "Come back, come back!"
I take the steps 2 at a time, legs already burning, and feverishly I'm looking for the darkest alley I can find. I turn the corner and press up against an old garbage can, trying to get low and get dark.
The
Yeah, it's I mean, it's pretty good. Back and forth roleplay. Nothing much to add here. I think we talked about all the points. So now we are trying to see. We are looking for points that deviate from this.
alleyways is almost impossible to see anything. It is indeed dark. The shouting of that man is not very loud from where you're at.
Shouting of the man is not very loud from where you're at. Yeah, I think it's fine. If you're role playing in the moment, obviously, this making descriptions on the spot can be a bit awkward, and you don't come up with the best words all the time. So that's totally fine. How would I change the description? Because obviously, what you mean to signal is that he's some ways away, right? So let's go back in here
And
to this
is
again.
the shouting of that man is not very loud from where you're at.
The man sounds far away. He's shouting, echoing into the alleyway. Or he's shouting, lightly echoing all the way to your location.
It's mostly quiet here. Just some rustling.
I take a moment to catch my breath, and when I'm confident that the cop and the man have given up their chase, I pull out the phone to see what I'm working with here, see if it works at all, even turning it over in my hand. Standard.
It turns on. The blue glow around the edges. The no password protection on it. It's just some kind of short form video app.
I'm hoping that once you look at the phone, you add the cyberpunk elements. Right. Because so far, all of the things being described can just be any city. So that's the thing I'm looking for, that you make it cyberpunk. The descriptions of the phone, the programs being used, the style of the alleyway. And how you interpret is up to you, but the descriptions have to come at some point, right? Otherwise, this is a normal alleyway and a normal subway station with a normal policeman, and you stole a normal phone, like a normal chunky. Uh, so that's where my head is at now. If you have more time, if you can just pause the game like me, pausing the video, you can think about this more easily, of course. But that's what I'm looking for right now.
You show people dancing, laughing. A silhouette quickly passes by the entrance of the alleyway, and shortly after, the second silhouette in uniform.
I pocket the phone and say to myself, should be enough for tonight. Time to get a fix. And I hit the streets again, blending in with the other punks of the city.
Now, he's running away. The other guys run past the street corner. That's a moment where I would say a roll is required. Stealth check of some sort. But it's okay if you decided he did a stealth check, and he succeeded that. So you might let that one ride. I'm okay with both solutions here. Both is fine for me. So I'm trying to think of when to call for a roll. This would have been a good spot. Okay, let's see some messages. Yeah, Elfhunter is still in chat. He's noticing all of his kind-offs now. Cringe. Yes. Dave the GM, see you later. He's catching it on the rewatch. Seemingly waiting for the subway. Less than desirable description. Yeah, and it's fine. Don't be too hard on yourself. The important part is you notice it, and now it sticks out. And because it sticks out, you want to do something about it. And that's how you improve, right? First, it needs to have some pain, and the pain leads to changing the way you do something. So it has a purpose. Yes, when I do cyberpunk, I end up doing noir instead. Closest genre I know, I guess. Okay. Caught up finally. Yeah, I think he was still behind the dumpster. The chasers didn't even get to see him go in the alley. So I didn't call for a roll. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's fine. Yeah, I guess it's fine. You go with your best judgment. I think that's totally reasonable.
Lightning flashes, illuminating more of the street you're already familiar with. Pawn shops, coffee shops, hardware upgrades, familiar fences, in familiar alleyways.
I've got some time to kill, so I pop in to a late night cafe for a quick cup of joe.
Right, I'm gonna change some of the settings and see how it works.
Welcome in. Someone at a lady, red hair, curly.
Okay, yeah, should still be audible to you guys. I'm doing some of the setups in the background, so I can listen to some music without you guys hearing it. There we go.
At the bar section of the diner welcomes you. Sit anywhere. I'll be here with you in a minute.
Yeah. I wipe my brow and make my way to one of the musty booths. Stretch out and take a minute to relax. Pull the phone out again. It's Hitachi crap, but it'll do. I hail the waitress, hoping it's the one I like.
Alright, just making sure you guys cannot hear the music I'm listening to, right? Good. Then it worked. But you should still be able to hear the video.
The lady with the red curly hair, the same one, comes out. Yeah, I'm coming. She lays out a pie and a coffee at the table next to you, and then comes to you. All right, what'll you have?
Cup of coffee.
Cup of
Black.
coffee. Black. Anything else?
Judy's not working tonight?
Judy, she's here. She kind of tilts her head inquisitively. Why, do you want me to get her for you?
Any other reason I'd ask?
She kind of drops her notepad to her sides, rolls her eye. All right, I'm getting Judy. And she walks off.
Everything is a diner in America. There are no other kinds of stores out there. It's a cyberpunk dystopian future, but you still have diners.
While I wait for Judy, I pull out another cigarette. I'm going through them fast tonight.
I'm poking fun. Guys, this is fun.
I puff.
The phone vibrates. Rain pitter patters on the window.
I pull it out and see what the notification is. It's ringing. Decline.
Yeah.
I decline the call.
The notification goes away. The battery percentage, 17%. Judy comes out. She walks over. Oh, hi. Wasn't expecting to see you tonight.
Oh, hey, Judy. You got my coffee?
Alright. Some technical difficulties.
Sorry. Judy comes. She says, oh, hi. Wasn't expecting to see you tonight. It's late.
Wish I had more time, but I got a hot item I gotta get rid of.
She puts her hand on her hip. Oh?
No, not that kind of item. A phone, and somebody's desperate to look to this piece of junk, but they're still desperate to find it.
She looks at it for... Oh, okay. Yeah. It is kind of a piece of junk, but I think the pawn shop next door would buy that. Or if not, I can call up my boys. They probably buy, they're interested in all that crap, taking phones apart and whatever. I think they'd buy it from you too.
You know I'm good for it. I don't like showing my face at that pawn shop.
Yeah, good point. Uh, by the way, did you need me to get you anything?
I like that. He made a. He got a fence. He delivered it. The game master roleplayed that. Oh yeah, the pawn shop nearby. He's gonna take that. Or she has some friends that might take it apart. They might just use it for parts. All of that's pretty cool. The one thing, and I like the Adam's reaction of he doesn't like showing his face. That makes it a cool point to separate, like traceability, so that oh yeah, it's being sold, but it's definitely not the guy that sold it. So, and woman that sold it, like you have several points of uh that are, what is it, several points of connection to help you stay incognito, so it's not traced back to you. Nice touch.
Old bag's getting me a cup of coffee.
The old bag uh, starts walking towards you and sets down that coffee.
I take a
Gives
puff and blow smoke, more or less, at her in her direction.
She rolls her eyes, drifting from you to Judy to just turning away and walks off without a word. Judy says, "Well, she's not getting a tip tonight, is she?"
You know the drill, Judy. They come looking for it here. People lose their phones in restaurants. And I'm sort of shaking my leg nervously. Can we do this or not?
Yeah. She sits down, uh, starts to look over her shoulder, and then tries to look natural. She pulls out her own phone. Let me just tell my boys that I have something for them. She holds out her arm. There's a kind of armband embedded in her forearm. She says, "How about 200 credits? What do you say?"
If you can
Well, it certainly is dystopian pricing.
do that now, that's good.
She's okay. Can I transfer this over to you?
I pull out my
Or
pad and hold it next to her arm.
she connects it to it, uh, and then a light flashes green on her armband. Okay, you should have it. It went over, right?
Shake my pad a little bit. And yeah, it looks good. Nothing I
Okay.
have works right these days.
She holds out her hand and the phone.
Slide it across the table.
She looks at it one more time. Yeah, that'll work. She puts that in her dress pocket. Um, two large men in huge trench coats step into the diner, uh, take their hats off, look around, sit at a table close to the door next to the window. And Judy says, "All right, well, I got to get back to work."
All right, all right. Good doing business with you as always. Mind if I finish this coffee?
Yeah, sure. She says, "Well, you want me to stay here with you while you finish? You like me that much?"
On second thought, I better leave.
She gives you a wink. Yeah, maybe you better. She gets up and goes back to the kitchen.
Coffee's still scorching hot, but I do my best to blow off the top and take a sip. Reach in, throw a few coins on the table, shuffle my way out of the booth, and naturally walk out of the door, trying not to make eye contact with these gentlemen.
They don't bother you either. Still raining. Still lightning in the distance.
The warmth of the coffee leaves me quick. It's replaced by a cold, rainy night. And I hunch my shoulders up again, walk the streets. Now looking for that fix with the creds I have.
All right. I liked the scene. We got some back and forth with an NPC before. It was mostly describing the scene, having some NPCs react, but now we had some back and forth. I liked that from Elfhunter. I think I like that there's some tension, there's some flirting going on, but also business being done. So, like, oh yeah, can do you mind if I stick around, finish the coffee? It's like, it's better that you leave. And it's like, oh, you're right. It only takes like a couple of sips before he has to go in outside again, because he's not here for the coffee. He's here for the 200 credits for the phone. But adding a new dimension of like wanting to see Judy and talking to her. Are they a thing? Are they not a thing? Who knows? Everybody flirts with everybody in Cyberpunk. It's a classic trope. Leaning into that helps. So I like the character interaction a lot. It was pretty natural. Elfhunter, it's a cyber diner, see? Yes, it is. I believe you. I like the line about the warmth of the coffee leaving him. Yes. Yeah, you weren't sure if he wanted to have coffee with Judy or alone. Lol. Yes, that's right, and we're not asking for clarifications. It's more fun this way. Judy could have just left him. She walks away, talking to the other customers. Hello, what can I do for you today? As the back and forth happens, and you just let the player decide. But this added a cool twist of, oh yeah, of course he's not here for the coffee. He was here for the business, and now he kinda has to go. It almost adds like, yes, we all know he's a junkie that's useful sometimes, so maybe he shouldn't stay in this diner. He's gonna grime it all up. He's gonna like besmirch their reputation if he sticks around in the diner. He's like, other kinds of customers are not gonna hang out here. I like all of those things are like implications, like seeds that that have been planted, that can be taken by the players. You take them and you run with it. You run with the most interesting one. The Judy scene was great. both GM and player picked up on subtle co-created elements very quickly. Yes. Yes, I agree. All right. I always wanted to say like I'm pretty much done with this, so thinking of skipping ahead. But you guys tell me in the comments, do you want me to skip ahead and see like their conclusions, what they talk about it, or continue watching? I'm gonna let you answer while I click the video.
Car drives by, neon, underglow, turns away. In the distance, there's a dock, some warehouses, a few guys on motorcycles by the dock. There's also some, there's another alleyway nearby.
Okay.
Cat walks out of the alleyway, gives you a weird look.
I'll pass the alleyway and say "get" to the cat as I make my way to the docks, thinking these 200 cred should get me something good tonight. Can stay out of the alleys.
Alright, Elfhunter, there's a bit of combat that would be fun to critique starting around here. Okay, yeah, let's stick around for that. Combat, I think, definitely a good point to review. Now, for me, like watching the session, it feels very slow, but I'm also here sitting and listening. So as a viewer, there's a level of abstraction. So maybe if I was playing, I think would be completely fine. But as a viewer, it's a bit. I'm thinking about like, oh, I gotta do some stuff. Gotta fix up some food for the wife and stuff like that. But I have time. Let's see.
These men are still sitting on their motorcycles as they talk to each other, the engines rumbling. Two of them facing away from you, one of them facing towards you. Does hey, can we help you?
My games are always slow. Are always slow. Hard to watch. Gotta say, I feel the same way about my own games. Especially the last D&D sessions I have done. I felt was incredibly slow. I did not feel that way with the Power Trauma sessions I've run last year. Alright. We can continue,
Yeah.
and if I feel like skipping, I might skip.
The other two turn and look.
Maybe. You holding?
Yeah, okay, let's skip a bit. Let's see if this is enough.
Just talking to each other quietly.
I say, as I feign interest and lean over, I say, "Nice bike."
And he says, "That's it." And he reaches for you, a big hand.
Okay, let's see how we get here.
Fail.
Okay, what did he fail?
Your tone. I don't appreciate your tone. And I reach out with my bionic hand and grab his wrist and squeeze as hard as I can.
Okay, we got some intimidation going on here.
Roll strength.
Fail.
Now, it's his bionic hand, so you might want to add a plus 20 here. Or however you've set this up beforehand. If it's just normal strength and it's... Oh, this is your normal strength without the hand. And a modified strength with the hand. It depends on the rule set, right? On how you've set it up. But maybe he just has a high strength because of the extra bionic hand as a baseline. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. Roll, fail. Good. True. Didn't even come up with anything for the hand. Yeah, this might have been a good moment of what you described of, oh, you have advantage, right? You get the plus 20 because you're using your special feature.
My arm, it glitches at the worst moment. And I, in a moment of shock, give him a wide-eyed look of, uh-oh.
He steps back and registering what happened. And he says, "That's it." And he reaches for you, a big hand coming towards your throat.
Also, subtle, but I like it. The player describes the failure himself. And you can interpret it in a couple different ways, right? And I like the way he went, like the arm glitched. The connection to like the rest of his body is like unclean, or he's not maintaining the cyberware, or he doesn't have the connection to maintain it properly, he doesn't have the money. So it glitches, that's cool. What you can also do is, I'm squeezing as my eyes widen, his forearm being way stronger than I thought and reinforced himself. You could go that way, you know, it's like, okay, the thing you're trying to do, you foresee an element of how the enemy is tougher than you thought. But both ways is a great way to describe failure. I like this. And we don't have to wait for Game Master permission. Elfhunter rolls with this pretty well.
He reaches out and grabs you, holding you where you stand. The two guys behind him just kind of falter for a moment, looking on.
I let go of his hand and
I like that he is pacing the NPCs. One guy reacts, the other two are just like reeling a bit of what's happening? What? Elfhunter, y'all call me David, by the way, lol. Man, your name is Elfhunter, so it's Elfhunter. I'm not gonna remember David. I will try. I will try, but I usually just go off YouTube handles.
struggle to stop him from fully choking or grappling me or whatever his plans are. I gotta get away. And I divert my attention to his bike.
Roll strength or dexterity.
Success.
That's a quick die roll, right? You make a call. You want to give two options. I've realized the more I'm playing, the more I think it's totally fine to just say, make a roll, and the players decide. But in most games, the players ask for guidance of which skill to roll. So I like that, like giving two options. And then I think back of when I gave 2 options and I think, oh man, the player probably knows what he's good at and he will pick the right skill. Because we have a player trust at the table.
I'm able to twist enough and throw my weight into his bike with a kick, knocking it off of its kickstand. It teeters and falls. Now's my chance.
Yeah.
It's okay, it's describing the success. He kicked over the bike. Now I'm thinking of turns, right? What you do with your turn. So I'm trying to figure out how this benefits him. But so that part's a bit confusing, but we will just keep on watching.
Big man says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he shouts, "Get him!" And the other two guys kind of snap to attention, and they run toward you. And they both try and grab you, one on each side. One of them grabs your right arm, both hands. The other one kind of goes for your other arm, and he slips at a pivotal moment. Kind of struggles.
Forgoing the drugs, my aim is to book it again. And in an attempt to get free of his grip, I raise my clunky bionic arm and just come down with a hammering motion on his wrist, hoping to break his grip.
Roll strength.
Fail. Shit, I mutter under my breath. Time to take my lumps.
The big man, there's a lot of good that arm's doing you right now, huh? He reaches inside his coat, pulls out some kind of pistol.
All right, we got a couple questions here from Elfhunter. I wasn't sure exactly what his approach is gonna be, so I gave the options. Yeah, I like that. Kinda. Yes, that's so this is a theme for you to take away with from reviewing. And that's also the benefit of looking at your own games. Watch them. You don't need to watch every game. But if you watch them like once a month, how you played yourself, you can hear yourself making these mistakes all the time. Then it gets into your head. Then you realize, I don't like those. You get the pain points and you reach the point of, I'm gonna fix that. What do y'all think about my aim is to book it? I think that's out of character. Yes, beforehand in the earlier part of the video, I liked it that he was describing his thought process. But now, over here, at the latter part, like with this combat, it's he should skip those. You don't have to describe what your aim is. You just do it. When you do a thing, you do it, right? So I look around to use something, help me get enough distance to book it. You might do it like this. or I look around to find something to help me in this situation. I'm still okay with this. I look around frantically for anything to help. Or, I just look around frantically, fighting, trying to wrestle my arm free.
Blowing blue tip. And some energy begins to fizzle on the tip of the gun. And then sirens turn on. Red and blue lights. A car pulls out of an alleyway up to the docks. And a officer steps out. The big man releases the trigger, puts it back in his hand. The two men that are holding you let go and stand there, just jaws dropped.
I stand up straight, take a step back, turning to the cop, and adjust my duster and reach for my cigarette slowly to take another one out.
The cop approaches. All right, what's going on here, boys? The big man points at you. This fella's messing with our bikes. He points to his bike pushed over.
I was a bit confused of what's happening here. Now, here's what I think, and we had a question here, Captain Conway. Oh, the situation resolved itself? I would rather learn more about how to character fix that whole affair, honestly. Alright, we had like, Elfhunter says the roll to shoot failed. Was trying to think of a reason it would fail, but wait, more happens. Yeah, so I'm gonna take the snapshot that we have right here. And as a game master, you're rolling to shoot. Like, we don't see that, but that's fair enough. You make a roll, it fails. And you try to come up with a reason. Now, while the scene was happening, I was thinking, you as a game master are taking too many turns. You pull out the gun, you close up with a blue spark as it charges up to shoot him, right? It's like you're charging it up and then you pull the trigger to release the shot. It's like some kind of last gun. It's a laser revolver. Something cyberpunk, something cool. But I'm thinking the police arriving and leaving the car and asking what's going on here. And then the other guy responding with he's messing with our bike. Those are too many turns. Too many turns. So instead, I would have the signal of the sirens going on and a cop car driving in and coming to a stop. And you do that, and the other guy says shit and puts the gun away again as the cop cars roll in. And that's your turn. Now it's the player's turn again. Now the player has a turn to adjust. What's he gonna do? Is he trying to run away? And now he has a chase scene with a cop? Or, maybe the cop tussles with the other two guys, but he gets, or does he say, play it cool, man. You don't want to get caught as much as I do. And you try to bribe the other guys to get along, not escalate the situation, or or you start blasting, punch the guy in the face, and hope the cops deal with the other guys instead of you. You escalate the situation and run for it. All right, Elfhunter, way too many turns. Heard? Yes, too many turns. I would stop. I like the idea the cops are coming. That's why he cannot shoot. And I would stop at that of the cop car approaching and like rolling to a halt. It's a perfect moment to stop. The way you described this whole scene, I was also thinking, wait, was this a setup? Are those gangers just undercover cops fucking him over? That's what I was thinking, because you were railroading the scene you were like pretty heavy-handed with the scene. So I always expected him to say, undercover police, he tried to buy drugs from me, caught him red-handed. That would have been a fun twist, honestly. But I mean, it fucks over the player pretty good. If you do that, that should be like a punishment to a really bad roll of like a cool way to make things turn sour for the player character. Yeah, that's funny, right? Okay, let's see how it goes on.
Cigarette. Getting wet. Lighter failing me now too. Nothing but a misunderstanding, sir. You got a light?
Says, yeah, I got a light. Pulls it out. Struggles to turn it on. Gets a little closer. The big man puts his hand behind his back and puts 2 fingers out. And the 2 men behind him look at it. And then look at the cop.
Now, I do wonder, you gave that description, if the player character was seeing it in his field of view. So if you as a game master think he's not, then I would skip that description and make it more oblique, Is oblique the right word? Make it more opaque. I think it's the right word here. But I don't mind giving a clear description of what's happening, and the player decides if his character would even notice that or not, depending on how the scene is framed. Now, this is a bit of a floating head in this moment, Okay, where's the player character, and would he see that? Because I thought he is standing face to face with the big guy. The police comes, so he kind of like turned towards the police. Like his arm is being grabbed by one of the goons. So in my head, he shouldn't able to pick up on those details. And neither should the goons be able to see those without the police noticing. Like at least the guy that's holding him right now, right? That's the thing. That was the last description. He should not pick up on that hand signal. Keeping the anchoring, the narrating, the mindscaping clean, so that we don't trip up on what's already being described.
Waiting patiently for the cop to light my cigarette. I take a beat to see what unfolds, hoping my luck is hit rock bottom and only on the way up.
I like, yeah, you're taking a beat to see how it unfolds. Stop there, Adam. Keep, the other part is like adding a bit of narration. It doesn't break it for me, but I would say this is like part of keeping turns concise that we talked about earlier. You don't want to push too hard with describing your thought process. Add them in now and again, but now right now you're doing it every turn, and I think it's too many terms.
He comes closer, finally getting a light, holds it out to you. Big man suddenly goes forward, tries to restrain the cop.
Also, why is a cop in Cyberpunk just lighting up somebody's cigarette that pushed a motorcycle over? Immersion ruined. Complete failure.
And he gets hold of him.
He's a suspect.
Turns him around.
This
the
is
two
silly.
guys behind him pull out their pistols. One nervous, missing, right between his feet, just barely. The other grazing him on the side, leaving a burn mark in his uniform.
Also, they're shooting a cop in the streets.
Cigarette still in my mouth. I try to reach for the weapon at the cop's holster.
Bad handling of the cop.
Roll
I mean, him
dexterity.
stupid. Yes.
With easy.
Success. It comes free. And I duck and run, shooting half blind at whatever bodies I can.
It's fine if one cop is
Success.
stupid, but then you have to kind of roll with it and try to salvage this the situation later on, right? But yeah, it just stands out, so I have to mention it, right?
Roll. Let's see. A scream erupts from one of the men, and then the sound of a falling down, hitting the pavement.
I keep
The cop runs off in another direction. The other two guys, there's reflections of blue light in the windows. Two sounds of laser pistol shots and a thud.
I like those descriptions. Now you're narrating things of what the players would see. But you don't describe them like they're looking. You describe it because he's running away. He sees the flashing of the lights and and hears the thud. These are soundscapes happening in the world, and that's immersive. I like that. You did make a roll between NPCs interacting with each other. I would say consider when you want to make a roll and when you just make a rolling on the spot. because a game master should not be rolling to himself too often. The good practice is staying, what's the word? Cautious is the wrong word. You want to be sparse with how oftentimes you roll to resolve some things the players don't see and don't know about. But I think it's fine in this case. It's a bit superfluous. That's the worst crime here, being superfluous, which is on the scales of how bad things can get, is not that bad.
I keep running, half looking back, squeezing the trigger until I hear clicks.
Roll dexterity formidable, so minus 40.
Fail.
Minus 40 on a D100, that's massive.
Here, get down. And 2 more blasts of blue light. One of those beams of light connects on your arm, leaving a singeing mark. And then the scrambling of metal and the sound of falling.
I chuck the pistol and grip my arm as I continue to run into the darkness, trying to get as much space between me and those bikers as possible. I'm frantic.
Lightning flashes in silence for a while. And then the sound of motorcycles revving up.
I take the first turn.
It's also a bit of like nothing else in the city is happening. So while he's running, the motorcycles are turning on. Now is a good moment to elaborate the scene to help him anchor the character of things he could play with. Like passengers, cars driving by. But right now it's described as absolute darkness and nothing happening in the city because in the cyberpunk city, right? I guess it's fine since it's raining. It's like most people cleared away. Maybe he's still in the alleyway. I'm not quite sure in my mindscape. So that's something I'm thinking of as a game master to help flesh out the mindscape. I love yes, you remembered the motorcycles and they rev up. A reminder that he's not outrunning them whatsoever. Alright, so comments here. You hear the sound of falling? Yes, but you did describe the FUD of a FUD happening, so that's right. You hear the sound of falling. That would be the awkward way of describing it.
Looking for a shop or business that's got some activity.
Alright, this is the end of combat, just a little bit of chasing after this. And it ends. Okay, sounds good. Let's leave it here. There we go. Okay. Okay, we made it to the end. That I'm gonna put on some music again. Yeah. Chill music. Great stream. Thanks for reviewing. You're welcome. Any pointers for the end to about this role-playing session? I think you both did a good job. There were no discussions about rules. There was no out-of-character talk. And those are like big cornerstones. The 4D elements, inventing Judy, obviously. Like asking for Judy, it's very clear, you know, you did not invent Judy. The player did. But you took Judy and changed her, you made her interesting. The diner scenario was pretty good. It felt like at first Judy was supposed to be the redhead that he talks to, but the player like clearly did not think this is Judy, like, no, get the other girl. So that was a fun little quip to make the scene a bit more interesting and less straightforward. So it feels more organic, you know, because if everything is perfect, then it's a movie scene. Then it feels acted. Then it feels like a theater play. This way it makes the world a little bit more alive, a little bit more believable. And I enjoyed that. Definitely likes, vague descriptions. You see maybe a junkie or what looks to be a junkie. It's keeping those descriptions clear, with clear language. And every time you describe something, you don't want the player to second guess what he is seeing. If he sees a shadowy figure, it's because he sees because the figure is shadowy, right? He's in half the darkness, the fog is obscuring his vision, all of that stuff. That's not being vague, that's describing what's happening. The cyber diner scene felt pretty real. Yes, absolutely. The combat scene with there was a failure, so you made the scene more complicated of why the guy doesn't just shoot you dead. I think it's a fine way to make to narrate a failure of an NPC. What he could instead is the shot misses. It's a classic. Or the first shot fizzles out and he has to slam the gun a couple times and then it revs up again, so he has a beat. I love that the cop coming, and the biggest problem was it was too many turns of the escalation of the scene. So the player should definitely have a beat, a turn on how he's gonna interact with the cop. The other part was rolling the dice to resolve what's happening between cops and the gang. The die roll is not needed, but it's fine if you want to leave it up to chance on which is the cop gonna live and what that might mean for your character. Because the cop's dead, he cannot report on having seen your face. But also because of the cop dying, it will escalate. Theoretically, it should escalate the situation because now somebody killed a cop in the streets. So that should have an influence to the world and the world building. Before I'm reading the comments, I'm trying to think other things to mention. The 4D co-creation was pretty good. I wish there was a bit more anchoring, because we had good descriptions of the characters, of what they do. We had good roleplay of speaking in character. We had a bit too many insights of what the character is thinking, which in Adam's case I would say use it more sparingly. Use it more sparingly. As of like the second half of the session, it was a crutch. You started using it as a crutch, and I would move away from that, and you're good. For the anchoring part, describing not just where your character is, but the world around you, it was a bit too vague, you know. The alleyway never got more characteristics than being an alleyway, so to say. Maybe I skipped ahead a little bit, so maybe there was. But we watched a good bit. The diner was pretty vague. It was a diner. There was no descriptions of the diner. The subway was a subway. There was no descriptions of the subway. Pretty much that's what I'm thinking of anchoring. Not just where is your character in the subway, but the more time you spend in a place, the more detail you add to the scene. Now, I think it's more important, still, like in the hierarchy of roleplay needs, that you roleplay between the characters and what they're doing, and speaking in character, and the anchoring of where they are in the scene. But the flavor, you add flavor by describing those locations. And so when you spend more time, you increase resolution. And you can only do that for words, because we don't have pictures, right? We could have pictures, but it's also like it's a challenge and a training session of making something spontaneous, so there's no prep. You just have to try your best and roll with what comes to your mind. Okay, let's those would be like my points to give to both players. Do I think you pass? Well, you know, I'm not really handing out grades, but because they don't count for anything except for my word. If I were, I would definitely say you're role-playing, you're role-players. It gets a 4D mark, so I call this a success. Good job. Captain Conway, combat scene was a bit hard to follow. The cop came out of nowhere. Yes. There was no ingress. I did not know where the cop's coming from. It felt like a bust, you know, like you got busted doing a drug deal. The most important thing there is the character and how they deal with the issue. Not just luck of a cop showing up. The chase scene improved dramatically from there because it was all about Adam's character's game. Yes, I agree. I've seen a light describer. I've been a light describer lately. Unless the scene is so alien, I have to describe more. Okay, we'll work on it. Yeah. It's part of you're juggling several elements, right, with each scene. And you have to find a level of comfort that comes with practice. But I like Mr. Mac's attitude. You start at low resolution of the scene. The alleyway, the diner, the subway. And when several turns pass, you increase resolution. the heavy rain, the moonlight shining down, the almost absolute darkness of the alleyway, right? That was, I remember that as a description of, it's so dark, you don't almost see nothing, because I guess it's supposed to reflect that no lights are on. But also there's moonlight outside, so there's still some light. Also, it's a cyberpunk city. When I hear cyberpunk and I hear city, I imagine there are literally lights everywhere, you know, flashing all the time. So it stands out to me in stark contrast when there's absolutely no lights. It means like this section of the city is dead. People refuse to live here. Like gangers bash in doors, and it's unsafe neighborhoods, like drugs. It's the energy grid doesn't even properly work through the city block, stuff like that. That's what I imagine. So, but if you add more detail to the anchoring, to the scene, to the mindscape, then those stand out more, and the players can think on it and create something interesting with that. And it would give contrast to the city and the locations inside the city. Of like, yeah, this is a subway, it's a city place. But this alleyway over here, this is like almost like near, it's like a dead zone. Nobody walks, don't walk through 25th Street, you know? If you walk through 25th Street, you're gonna get robbed and mugged. Beaten up for the hell of it if some kids look at you funny, and if some kids think you've done something funny. Like it's a seedy street of New York or Chicago, something like that. Alright, Captain Conway. I feel if just knowing that it's a cyberpunk game already made the dinner, the diner cyberpunk in my game, as a subway station too, so that worked for me, but maybe that's just because I'm more familiar. Yes, we add in the gaps ourselves. But it's not an excuse to skip describing the scenes. Captain Conway, I'm not big on over description in my mind. Yeah, that's and that is a problem. I mean, that's a problem that most game masters have, spending too much time over describing, which is why you try to keep the resolution low at the start and increase it over time the more time you spend at the location. And I'm not sure if I'm doing a good job with that. So it's something I try to practice myself in my games right now. And the scenes we are having are pretty low resolution, like in a forest in the last couple of sessions. Trying to add more elements without taking up too much time as a game master. That's the difficult part. It's a fine line. It's a balance. So you have to feel it out. You have to feel it out. And sometimes you can just watch your games and count the minutes, right? Like, how long do you take describing something? Count it. It's fine. Like, you're not holding yourself hostage. You just see, okay, this scene took 20 seconds. This scene took 2 minutes. If I imagine I'm a player imagining this, am I engaged? Or am I getting bored? Like, is it taking 20 minutes until it's my turn again? Because it's a game master describing everything. Then it's 2 players doing something. Then it's my turn. And now it's been 20 minutes. That's what you want to be mindful of. But you don't have to stress about it. You keep it in the back of your mind. And you play what comes naturally to you. You be mindful of how you talk. That's gonna improve most of your scenes already by a lot. And then you can check after the game, wait, were my descriptions like weird? Were they bland? Or was it too much detail? And you can check after the fact. Alright. Elfhunter. Same here, Conway. Sonolar's suggestion of adding a bit more each turn seems like a good middle ground. Yep. Alright. I think I'm gonna call the stream here for today. I was thinking of like chilling out, doing something else, maybe drawing. I'm getting a bit hungry again. I have to do some chores. I did not do my walk for today, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna walk through the nights. Like squeeze one in. But I'm also like my throat is running dry and I'm getting exhausted talking so much. So I think I'm gonna call, well, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them. Otherwise, I'm gonna call the stream here. Was a good session. We had 2.5 hours. Well, glad to see Elfhunter that you're here to watch this all. So one of the two players got got the bang out of the buck for this one. That's super cool. And of course, Adam can watch it later. Okay, Captain Conway. Sort of like how you introduced the diner, then later called out the pitter-patter of rain in the windows. Should have continued from there. Maybe a hologram singer from a jukebox. Or, yeah, other cybers. Yeah. Thanks again for watching. I'm sure Adam will get a lot out of this later. I hope so. Let me know what you think. If you're still watching now, you can like. And, I assume all of you are subscribed, so I'm not asking. Have a good night and have fun role playing. Good night, everybody.